all the stupidity, guilt, shame you might feel because you were a victim of that trauma.
So when you go in your brain and you're like, am I a dumb slut who deserved it? There's a little like movement in your brain that's like, yeah, and here's a memory to support that.
Exactly. We are here with comedian and author of I Shouldn't Be Telling You This, but I'm going to anyway, Chelsea Devantez. We have, I'm only like a chunk through because I just started reading this last night. I said this before, I want to say it again. You are such a beautiful writer. I have cried and laughed so much since I just started reading this book, and I'm only on the page about the chapter about your best friend. I love it. You paint such a beautiful picture of your childhood. And as I was getting to know you, so we know you because we intern at 30 Rock.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jennifer McNamara and Trey Lawson.
And Katya.
And Katya Blitchfeld.
Oh my God.
Katya Blitchfeld.
I worked in management on the other side, so I was like making calls to you guys.
Know each other then?
No, was this before or after?
I got 30 Rock because
too.
Corey was recommended me to
right.
Katya and Jennifer.
Yeah.
They're like, who's this chick? And they're like, actually, she's great. And I was
so
like,
this was after,
Okay.
immediately after we met. Yeah.
And Krystyna, she was
remember
like
when I asked to audition? Do you remember that?
I'll never forget it.
I don't know why I did that.
That's a you
are you
move.
kidding me? I thought about it every
That's a you
day.
move.
I think I thought about it every day for years because I was like, this is a lesson. It was a lesson. It was like
Asking what
you
you
did
want.
the right thing. So day one of the internship, they say,
Don't ask to audition.
no matter what, never ask us to audition. No matter what. And then it's like in the intern handbook of like,
Yeah.
But the little asterisk there is like,
But if I'm
but if you're
perfect for the
good,
part.
maybe you should.
Right.
But they're trying to be like, hey, you're bad, don't ask, so we don't have to say no.
Right.
But I was always just a little rule-following loser. And so one day I hear that Krystyna had the audition for Life and that she was very good and that they were happy she had asked. And I was like,
Jennifer,
this
though?
was a lesson.
Jennifer, I was like, Trey, do you think I could ask? He's like, whoa. I'm like, I think I'm going to do it.
But you did it.
I can't believe
but
I
you
did
it. It was
Right.
like, it was truly, and I think you like could see it in your career too. It's
So
like,
I was thinking
you
about
did
that.
It. You were ready.
Because I was reading your book, I was like, oh fuck, I remember when we were interning and I asked her. And then I thought, I don't think I told you this. I was at an SNL party not that long ago. There was a table of Lorne Michaels, Steve Higgins, and Dave Chappelle. I sat down. What the fuck? And they looked at me like, what the fuck? And I was like, Dave, remember guys he fucked? He's like, oh, hey, what's up? And then I just listened to their conversation. I was like, I shouldn't have done this. And I left.
No, but I think the answer
So
is
funny.
Yeah.
Just fuck it, you know?
I think it's,
I'm comfortable being embarrassed.
Yeah.
And women don't make moves like that nearly as often as men. So I encourage women to make ridiculous moves like that.
All I am is embarrassed. I'm made of humiliation.
Oh my
so
God.
being next to someone like Krystyna, I was like, I have so far to go.
So your book is absolutely incredible, as I said.
Thank you.
It has this beautiful quality of like this fiction book that you just get lost in, but it's your fucking life. Like it's got everything I want from a fiction book and a nonfiction book.
Okay, that makes me happy because, I read a lot of memoirs and that's always what I want to. I was like, I don't actually need to know every detail of your life. I don't need to know like what your mom said that morning and then the next morning. It's like, tell me a story. So like the fact that you said that really means a lot.
Oh my God, it's so captivating. But you said something that I was like, holy shit, I've been trying to articulate this for my whole life and you just did it in such a beautiful way. Talking about there's domestic violence situation at the top. You redacted a lot of things from and I love the way you did it. It kind of read like an immersive theater experience reading the book.
Yeah.
It read like
visually,
a film.
it's great. Krystyna showed me the pages and I'm like, oh, this is a great way to show how much you couldn't tell.
And how much we have to protect
the abuser.
Protect him.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't mean to redact it. Like I wrote the whole thing. I structured it.
Yeah.
The first chapter and the last chapter was like, well, I don't know how dark you want. We can save it for later because it's dark. But
I want to go. We literally have a
we
poster
like to
that
go
says
dark in the front.
Allegedly, Chad, because that's the lawyer who listens to the show. We have to fucking say, oh, if he raped you, I'm sorry, he allegedly raped me, Chad.
Allegedly.
Yeah. But let's get into it. Fuck it, it's life.
So allegedly, Chad, that I pitched the memoir and sold the memoir with this structure of this domestic violence relationship I was in when I was very, very, very young, and a lot of things happened, but it ended when he did 3 drive-by shootings of our house. And
that'll do it.
That'll do it. And we
do it.
went to court. I moved away alone. I changed everything about myself. And I just didn't speak about it almost at all for 10 years. Because
Not even to your mom.
Well, my mom, she was there in court with me.
Right.
So she knew. She was abreast. No, she knew everything. But I didn't like, I'm in New York City. I'm interning with you. I'm not telling anybody. I'm like, I'm a nice lady
a normal girl
who doesn't deserve this, and I'm fun. I'm having fun. I'm dateable. I won't break down on you.
When you talk about just developing a fun personality because you want to be, I'm like, oh my God, yes. I totally, it's so exhausting.
So exhausting. And also we grew up in years where it's like being normal or you're not safe.
Yeah.
Or you're gross or you're weird. Like it was the Paris Hilton normalcy high school years. And so, I was just trying to be normal. Failing extravagantly. Yeah. You can speak on what I was like when you knew me. Failing.
I actually thought you were pretty I'm like, damn, this girl's on top of shit.
No way.
Yeah.
That's impossible.
Yeah, I was like the sloppy one.
Really?
Yeah.
No, you were like going
I was
for your
flailing
dreams
inside.
and I was just a trash heap sitting at the desk like answering calls slowly.
I feel like we were both in flight or flight that we couldn't tell what was going on.
What was happening. Just fight or flight for just decades.
Yeah.
So I wrote that and then the memoir ended with what happened 10 years later when I was literally on stage performing and it was the place where I worked and got my paycheck from. And so a sheriff walked into this comedy theater to subpoena me. Sorry, spoiler for the book.
That's
subpoena
okay.
me back to court to undo what had been done. And that was when I had to, basically my boss is like, is this a bit? Have you hired a sheriff? It's like we're at the chuckle factory. Like they were like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And that's when I started like unraveling and telling people and unraveling even more. And then finally years and years and years later after that, I work up the courage to write this book. And I finally turned it all in and they said to delete it because it was too dangerous to share.
And what do they mean by that? What specifically? Dangerous to whom?
Like dangerous to them financially? That's what I feel like they always comes first.
Yeah. It's a lot of allegedly, Chad, but
yeah.
I decided to use the black bars to redact it to tell the story of how we silence victims in the name of protection. In the name of my protection, you've silenced my story. But the real person you're protecting is them and him and the system. And it's how it happens over and over again. It's why I was so sad because I really thought like, I'm a comedian. I went through this horrific thing. I'm on enough meds that I could write this story in a somewhat readable, hopefully funny way, a way that's not just a Lifetime movie. It's not just a podcast that ends in murder. Like it's a new genre to like talk about domestic violence in. And they said no.
And the people that you could have saved by like women who would read these details that would go, holy shit, I thought I was alone. Because that's one of the things that keeps it, not talking about it keeps it happening. And then thinking that you're the only one. So the shame is just like, well, how could you get into this situation?
Which
Buddy,
is exactly
it happens
how I
all the
felt.
fucking time.
Yes. And I think also I was really trying to write the book for like, so my mom was in abusive marriages that she got out of and was divorced from both of them by the time I was in this relationship. And yet I still walked into it.
Right.
And so I was trying to write something of like, what could I have actually read at that time where I would have seen myself in it? Because I've seen domestic violence. I saw it. There's movies.
Yeah.
There's Enough with J-Lo.
Yeah.
But I did not think I was in that relationship because you don't believe it when you're in it. It takes a long time to realize like you were a little bit in Enough. You just didn't train for boxing classes like she did. But
right.
But it was that bad. But when you're in it, it feels quite normal. So I was really trying to write that, and they said no, we hate women.
Jesus. Was there any discussion, or was it just a hard no?
It was months of me. Crying, screaming, calling every lawyer I knew, calling every
good for
person
you.
I knew.
Good.
It was me telling them I was going to cancel the book, which I did mean. And then at some point I sort of realized like I did already write the whole thing and I may never get this chance again.
Right.
I mean, I like who gets to write a book? Not everyone. And I was like, I need to find a way through. And actually Yasser, my husband, was the one so I tried a lot of things to keep it in. And finally one night he was like, why don't you just redact just enough words that they can't tell you no?
It's like visually, it's kind of like a
protest
visual
piece,
art
like
piece in the book, right?
Yeah.
So you have this written work and then you have a visual piece of art in it as well.
Yeah.
Because I mean, obviously best case scenario, we could have actually read the words that you wrote, but I think there is something really powerful about seeing it in this way, just being like, and also our minds are so fucked up at this point societally in 2024 that what we fill in might be pretty bad.
Yeah.
So leave it to us.
We'll do the work for you.
You'll do the work for me. I mean, talking about Krystyna and I like being in college and being fight or flight, it's like I had no resources my whole life. Even college, I guess, is like, you're in college, but
Just trying to do an impression of normal, man.
Yeah. And like at college, you get like, we got 10 free therapy sessions. So that's a resource. But like, I had nothing. And then when I put the book out, I was like, I have savings. I already have a lawyer because I work in entertainment.
Yeah.
I have money. I have access to other lawyers. I know famous people. They're in my phone every now and then. They could text me back. It depends on what I say.
Sure.
And
That's
even
power. That's power, baby.
But like, I have all these things. I have meds. I have health insurance. I have like really wonderful community. And I couldn't tell my story. So think of any domestic violence victim out there with an ounce less.
Your
And
boss
that's
at
what I
one point
hope
was
comes
Jon
through.
Stewart. Like it's like and it's a man. When a man, I feel like when you have a celebrity friend that could, and it's a man, you're like, well, surely this will get me a pass.
Got the ultimate dude to co-sign.
Right.
And he and I, we wrote an episode on domestic violence and on guns, and I went on his podcast and told the whole story.
Nice.
And
Good.
But it's like. And you know, they have a whole legal department too. And so, so I had already done this. We did this whole episode about how 60% of mass shootings are done by men with a history of domestic violence.
Yeah.
A history of court documented domestic violence. And there are already laws in place that if you have committed domestic violence, you can't own a gun, you can't obtain a gun. Like those laws exist. We don't have to like fight for anything new. We just have to follow them, and we don't.
Yeah,
and because we
right.
don't follow them. But it's like, if you just if you took domestic violence seriously, if you cared about women, you could impact potentially 60% of mass shootings.
Yeah.
That's what the episode was about. It was fun.
Yeah. Well, it's glad you did an episode about that.
Yeah.
The fucking law, I think it was Missouri. You probably know the state that is going to ban women from getting a divorce while they're pregnant, or like a couple
God.
from getting a divorce while the woman is pregnant.
Too hormonal, right?
Well, it's like you are only protecting the abuser. How the fuck? What?
Well, and a woman's risk of getting murdered by her partner goes up exponentially when she's pregnant.
Yes.
I mean, it's
I didn't know that.
That's the highest likelihood you have of getting murdered as a heterosexual woman by your partner is when you're pregnant.
Also,
Have a great
it's
week, everybody.
Oh my God, you're welcome. So that's from the app.
Who's horny?
It's also so interesting because it's like, you know, being pregnant is hard. You want help. You want a partner. The woman who is like, I'm full pregnant and I need not even a separation. I need a divorce.
Yeah. You know that something's up.
Something's really wrong.
Something's wrong. She's not like, fuck you. This is my kid.
Right. Yeah.
No, she's never doing that.
I want to pay for the kid by myself and I don't want any financial support.
Get your millions away from me, daddy. Ew.
I feel like they think we all watch Gilmore Girls and are just like itching to be a single mom. Like we're like, I caught it. Like, what? No, it's not the case.
You had a quote when you were talking about trying to process the trauma from the domestic violence. The process of getting back up with the scrambled brain it left me with is the mountain I've been climbing every day. I thank you for writing that in that way, because there's something about trauma that what it does to the brain, like scientifically, that you just feel fucking stupid.
Yes.
And then add to the fact all the stupidity, guilt, shame you might feel because you were a victim of that trauma. And it's it's like we don't have a chance. Like
don't have a chance. Yeah, and I think like I love that you guys talk about it all the time, but it's just that it actually changes your brain. It moves things around in your brain. So when you go in your brain and you're like, am I a dumb slut who deserved it? There's a little like movement in your brain that's like, yeah, and here's a memory to support that.
Exactly.
And you're like, I'm stupid. And then you go, I don't know, an hour passes, you do an exercise, you meet with your therapist, and you're like, that memory is actually wrong. You know what I mean? That's just a slice of it. I have to find this other memory. I have to find this fact. Like to put your brain back together is so hard. And then you have to do it again every
time you get triggered.
So it's like, so I mean, I feel so much better than I used to. I used to live in like just the throes of CPTSD in like a pretty vicious, violent way. I feel so much better now. And even now I have to be like, wait, where am I? Who am I?
Yeah, because people don't understand that like your brain shuts off, so that when you get whatever your trigger is, whatever that produces for you, whatever emotion, I've been at so many times, like some of the worst times in my life, I've been staring at my closet full of clothes. I have to go here to record the podcast, and I'm like, I have nothing to wear while I'm staring at clothes, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, hello, like, can you
your
work?
brain has left the building.
Like,
you're
fucking
like, get
work.
online.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
It is really wild.
How has that shown up for you in relationships? Because that's the part where it just like my working relationship, like with Corinne and all, it like taints those relationships. And then you feel worse. And you're like, how the fuck do I get out of this fucking swamp?
Yeah. Well, I actually really, I have some questions. I know it's your podcast, but I have some questions for you.
We love questions.
Okay, good. And well, romantically, I now know I was hiding inside relationships. Every time I had one that lasted longer than 2 seconds of a person ghosting me because I clearly was looking for someone to hurt me that day. And I was like, this guy seems like he won't show up. So I had some of those. And then I had a really long-term relationship where when I got out of it, I went on that tour where everyone's like, oh, thank God. And you're like, I'm sorry, all of you? And he wasn't a bad guy. None of them were like, ooh, we hated him. They were like, we couldn't see you two together. Like even you walking down the street together made no sense. I once went to a party with one of my actual brothers, and granted he is my half brother, so he looks different than me, but just a little bit, enough. And I went to a party with my half brother and this boyfriend, and everyone thought my brother was my boyfriend. And that my boyfriend was my brother because that's how much
chemistry.
we didn't belong together.
Right.
Wow.
Yes, but it was safe.
I had that the second I said, I think I should dump Steve. Like, oh, thank God. I'm like, wait, really?
Where are you been this whole time?
I did that with them, and then my mom. I thought my mom was just like my best friend, and she was perfect. And if you looked at her weird, I'd fucking, what the fuck's your problem? And then I was like, I think I should stop talking to my mom. Everybody around me was like, yeah.
Wait, so
I'm like, damn.
I only know this this recent estrangement. I know that part.
Yeah.
I didn't know you as like you're my mom. My mom is my best friend.
Yeah, I mean all that happiness that if you remember from interning, that was me. You said something about like that forced school picture smile. That was exactly my mask. I was like you look at pictures of me and I'm straining to like look happier than I am, but I honestly didn't know. I think by like college, I really didn't know that something was fucked up. It took me a long time to.
Moms are hard too.
Yeah,
especially when you're close. And did you guys read Jeanette McCurdy's book?
Yeah.
So when you read it though, there are some people who read that book who go like, "Wow, how did all that happen?" And they didn't even realize it. And I just read it. And I was like, "Oh, of course, of course."
I couldn't believe some of the shit she wrote. I was like, that happens to other people. That's crazy. But your mom kind of seemed like there was shitty parts, but like really lovely, supportive. Like, what a gal.
Yeah.
Huh?
My mom is, we went through a lot, and yes, some really shitty things happened, but it wasn't because she wasn't trying her best. And I think that's like really the key difference, which is, and I think the hardest thing to wrap your head around, and that I had to, is like, I know my mom would die for me. I know she would die for me. And how could someone who would die for you let something so bad happen?
Right.
And I think that's something we have to deal with parents, where it's like, because things get so complicated and so nuanced. But yeah, she was always trying her best. And my mom had like a really, really intense, rough life and ran away from home at 14. And so it's like,
so her mother, like she was better, so much better to you than her mother was to her. That's always how it goes, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And like a lot of my life, she'd be like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. And then I kind of grew up, and like I got into my first Hollywood writer's room, and everyone's like, I'm sorry, what the fuck is coming out of your mouth?
Right. It's like, but yeah, when you see the shock, you're like, wait, that's weird. Wait, like, that's sad and dark, dude. You're bumming us out.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I knew this was weird, but for her, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
It was a lot better.
Because it was an improvement. Yeah.
Wait, so I had a question for you guys. So,
sure.
I loved female friendships because that's where I was like, I grew up knowing men not only could hurt you, but like most likely will.
Went out of their way to.
Can't be trusted.
Want to jerk off to it.
Yeah.
Think
like,
about it often.
Yeah, and it's built into society of like relationships, break up, blah, blah. So I was like,
and
I
she's
know
married to a man, just
a great man.
Can you believe?
Insurance. He is great.
You caught a baddie by meaning a baddie. I mean a goodie. Yeah.
I got a baddie goodie. I got I would be like, oh my God, I'm so lucky. But if you read my book, you're like, she deserves it.
Yeah, exactly.
She deserves
God
something
was
nice
like,
in this
here you
life.
go, Chelsea. You need this.
Yeah, you can have this. But my mom at one point, she and her best friend divorced their second husbands who were alcoholics and agreed to meet up and start over at the same time in the small
Thelma
town.
and Louise, man. I love this friendship.
That's so cute.
Just two women ready to fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Grace, yeah.
I just love her sexuality and her like advice she bestowed on you was so like, she was telling you to be slutty, but also like conservative so you could get scholarships. And I was like,
yeah. She's like, get good grades, but show your tits if you want a man. And I'm 11 being like, tits. Will I get those? So I looked up to female friendship where I was like, oh, well, you can get anything done if you have two women.
Yeah,
you have two women, you can survive abuse, you can raise children. Like, you just need two female friends. And so I always looked for that. But I didn't know it till it was over, but made my like first business partner relationship with my female best friend, like ragingly codependent. And I would say I was like the engine for that. Like I was, I was really making it codependent. And so, you guys have seemed to have balanced it so well, though. Every time I listen to your podcast
she's
and check
healthy.
in, I'm like,
I'm a very distant person.
Yeah.
Is it boundaries or is it distant?
Well, then I was like offended, and then she's like, "No, this is okay." I'm like, "Oh, this is healthy."
I'm you,
know, when you're in a
'cause I was
healthy
offended
relationship, and you're like, "Why don't you love me?" Like,
Yes.
no, this is actually what love is supposed to be.
Well, there's a couple. I mean, there's a couple things we did set like actual rules.
in the beginning,
like pretty close to the beginning. I mean,
Guys, we fuck up big pretty quick, and we're like,
you guys were so young.
"Holy shit!" You know,
Why
like,
be that healthy?
yeah, put a lot of work in though.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't that young. I was like 27. I wasn't. That's not super
the
young.
shit I was doing. I'm forgiving myself by being like, you were so young though.
I mean, yeah. So one of the things we did in the beginning was we still have the same agent, but we have different managers.
Smart.
I came from the world of management, which is where I met Krystyna at shout out Liebman Entertainment. And so I had recommended from the beginning, I was like, we're going to be working together as a team, but we obviously have aspirations later down the line. So I think we can have the same agent, but I would like to have different managers. Mm-hmm. And she was okay with that. That was just something I knew. It's over a decade later and we're still, on calls being like, no, that was Krystyna talking, not Corinne.
I know.
So like, it's really important, especially when you're specifically a female duo, that you're not like treated like the Bobbsey twins or something.
Yeah.
Like you have to be
very different people.
First off, our yes, we had the same manager, but they would call us the girls. Hey girls,
Yep.
hey girls.
Yeah,
Hey
we're
girls.
the guys we fucked girls. Yeah.
I had a fight to even have our fucking names
on the marquees
on
at
things,
clubs.
not just saying the guys we fucked or guys we fuck girls. I go, how are we going to build a career for ourselves when no one knows what our fucking names are and continues to call us the guys we fuck girls? I'm like,
that's so
not gonna be
smart
cute
of you
when you're in
because
your
I would have
40s.
been like, whatever you want. I'm so happy. A marquee for us?
right.
Well,
but that was
they
me.
wouldn't know my name. They would only know the podcast. So I understand. I just think it is brilliant business advice. Truly, in all things of like, I don't mind that they called us the girls, but what you're saying is like this little entity.
Yeah, don't take away our individual identities.
Yeah, and it's really to. Yeah, it like gets you to settle for less.
And they don't do it to men. And they don't do it to men. They would never ask two male comedians to share a bed on the road with that the way they asked us too many times. Mm-hmm.
It would be so cute if you guys cuddled. Don't you cuddle after shows?
Yeah, it's like they just would never ask these things. And I mean, there was something quite simple that I repeat still to this day a lot that I just knew from working in management is that your representation works for you. You don't work for them. Yeah. But a lot of times by the time you get signed as an artist, you're so fucking thankful and you've worked so hard that it feels like you work for your representation because it was something you worked towards, but they are your employee.
Yeah.
Don't you forget it.
Yeah.
I haven't heard all that though so I think I was signed 25 or 26, something around then. And I definitely I knew they work for me, but I'm still like, but what do you want me to do? I'll do it. Pilot for 6 months, and I sent you 2 more just in case the nudge of the email would get you to do it. And you have it. My book is gonna break your heart. I was with horrible managers for like 5 years.
Yeah,
Fuck.
Horrible. How so? Like what?
So they actually, in this story, spoiler alert, we're gonna have a best friendship breakup because we sold this TV show.
Mm. Oh, interesting.
And we were stars, we were writers, we were the executive producers. And but it was at one of the less cool networks, which as someone who was making $100 a night with a discount on chicken fingers wasn't something that occurred to me.
Right.
To think on anything beyond the chicken theater.
Yeah, exactly. You'll take anything.
Yeah. And we were in Chicago and, we'd sold it to this like network that was, in Hollywood. And,
was it Lifetime?
Like it wasn't an Omaha network. It wasn't Lifetime.
Okay.
But it was a network that they were like looking down on incorrectly. My comedy partner had gotten this manager who was like straight out of a fucking movie, like through the smoke in his little suit being like, you're bigger than this. You're a star. You don't need her. She's dragging you down. You're a star. She knows how to type well.
Wow.
And you can't do this show. You can't do this show because you'll be out. You'll be out for pilot season, and this is your fucking year.
Wow. So your partner's manager said that to her?
She had a new agent.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
A new agent who saw both of us perform. Signed her. So I was sort of like, I think... what if he knows what he's talking about?
Yeah,
and
right.
I do suck.
You okayed it?
You never know.
Oh,
Well,
no.
I can't. What do you mean okayed it? I mean, we're both actors.
But
you
I know, but you just said, I would have been like, no, they don't know what they're talking about.
No, I did do that.
Oh,
it just
okay.
didn't. It was like me, girl from the trash,
Right.
Who has
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
just fought to
Yeah.
be here,
Yeah.
to even be at this comedy theater making so little. Like everything was so hard against one of the most powerful agents or we thought at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That being said, I was like, he's wrong.
Yeah.
This is fucked up.
Yeah, good.
And but she believed him because she also came from the trash heap like me. We were just
right.
two girls with nothing, and she thought he was being truthful. He doesn't work in the business anymore. Full story. But I could never forgive her after she walked out of the deal.
Was it her year?
okay.
Did it end up being her year?
That was not her year.
Okay.
Did she ever have a year?
Has
Like, did she have-
any year since been her year?
How's it going?
Well, you got to read the end
You're
of the
doing
book.
great.
That's the thing. I was not. I mean,
Is Karma
I
doing
want to
its
know
thing?
where he is, and I want to call him and be like, "Motherfucker, you see this coming, bitch?"
Yeah.
You know, but because you just bet against me so strongly, and
Fuck, that's
but
heart-wrenching.
I loved her. All I want, even now, and the friendship breakup had to happen for us to become better people. For even me to think that I deserved to even be here at this podcast by myself.
Right.
We needed to have that happen. I never.
That's so that you're right then. Well, there was idolization happening, it sounded like.
Yes. And I love my safest place still is I love to find the strongest woman in the room.
Yeah.
And stand right behind her. I love being in a strong woman's shadow. And I'll hold her up. I will throw a punch for her. I'll get in. I'll throw a drink on someone. Whatever she wants to do, I'm there.
Yeah.
But I want to be in her shadow. Like I would definitely fight Corinne. I'd be like, hello, what are you up to tonight?
I love
Can
it.
I stand behind you?
I don't like talking to people, so if I can find someone who will talk to other people
See,
for
and
me.
that was me.
Yeah.
So she also didn't like talking to people. So I was
Yeah.
like, I'll get in there.
Yeah.
You be
Do
strong.
the schmoozing.
When I
Yeah.
say I hate myself, you say no, you don't.
Yeah.
I would be great at this. I'm available.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So it had to happen, and I loved her very much. And she was I won't spoil it, but at the end of the book, there's a twist.
Oh,
There's a
you
twist.
I mean, you can, if you want. Well, yeah, it's up
They
to you.
have sex.
Ooh. Well, I
I made it up.
had a friendship that we have matching tattoos that we don't talk to each other anymore. Corinne and I co-wrote a book called Fucked years ago, and all 4 people in my book dedication portion are blocked on my phone. So it's like, man, you think you know what's going on, and you don't, dude.
I'm sorry. Is that a mom, a dad, a
an
partner,
ex-boyfriend,
and a friend?
All the 4 most important people in my life.
Mine's dedicated to the Spice Girls, Hillary Clinton, Marsha Clark, and my mom.
Good call.
Okay, and are you still like Marsha Clark's work? Or?
I'm good with everyone.
Yeah, I know you're good with your mom.
I have to still watch Marsha Clark's episode of Everybody's in LA with Mulaney. But
Okay.
Right.
I opted to watch the Elvira one first. So.
I love Elvira so much.
Smart.
Yeah.
She's a bangs icon.
Yeah.
I can't believe all 4. I can believe all 4 are blocked.
It's
but, like,
well, you trauma brain, baby. You think people are safe, and you don't. You're just trying to convince yourself that they are, so that you feel okay.
oh yeah, you seem like it's so funny because when we were interns together, I thought we were so different. I was like, this girl's fun. She goes out. She knows how to date. She can do whatever she wants. But it sounds like both of us were the ones being like,
running
I'll just
from
work
ourselves.
really hard.
Yeah.
I'll work really hard to make everything work.
I worked 30 hours a week at Apple. I intern like 3 days a week. I was going to college full time, and I was like, no time to think about my life, so that it's good. But then it comes crumbling down, and so
Dissociating's
it's crazy.
It's awesome. I miss it.
I,
Wish I could fall back in more easily, but now I know it's happening. I'm like, nah.
right, yeah. So do you still have remnants of the trauma responses with your relationship with Yasser, with your husband? And how does I feel like he would handle that really well, because he just seems like a lovely, kind man. Beautiful person.
He's the best, and he's been through a lot of stuff in life. So he was kind of my first partner where they weren't scarred during small talk, and we were actually came together about a lot. And I think in the beginning, I was definitely doing things where you just try and stab your own relationship.
Yeah,
to see if
sabotage,
it'll work.
baby. Yeah.
You're just could I end it? And then I got into trauma therapy.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff went away. I think so, yeah. I've been in trauma therapy for a decade. So once I got into therapy, I was able to really fix the stuff with me and him. And now I think what's hardest for him is watching me have those remnants in other places of my life. So there are other things that are still open wounds that are really rough for me, but I don't take it out on the relationship.
That's awesome.
Can you believe?
It's crazy, right?
You're welcome, yes.
Yeah.
How long have you been together?
We have been together Oh my gosh, math. We've been together. We're going to come up on 8 years soon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we'll have been married in 2 years in October.
And your wedding is like my dream wedding. It seemed like an immersive theater experience with a lot of costume changes. And then you had a billboard of your mom's. I was like, you guys are the cool. This is exactly how I want my wedding to go. Thank you for.
Oh my God.
Thank you for painting the bar. Thank you for raising the bar for me.
Thank you. It was really cool to like, we both don't come from like normcore.
Yeah.
So we didn't have any
God.
of the inclinations to do the like dried chicken with like a cousin who holds the mic 5 feet away and gives a speech that everyone pretends to listen to.
Oh, God. Right.
So
Painful.
it was nice to like, it was really cool to like make a wedding that like actually felt like us. You know what I mean? I could totally see you having like a bananas
It would be
wedding.
a party. Yeah. My boyfriend and I had talked about it. We're like, it would be kind of be like a joke wedding, but like all the men would be dressed in like the Dumb and Dumber tuxedo, either
That's
blue
great.
or orange. But yeah, you guys.
That's the most fun. We hired actors that vaguely looked like us.
Oh, that's so funny.
And in our little thank you speech, I was like, hey, Yasser and I really want to take selfies with you guys. There's this back room that we're going to be back there all night. We want to take selfies with you. So please come back there. We want to get one with every guest. And then back there were 2 actors that kind of looked
that
like
is
us.
a great idea. That is so
and people
funny.
went back and took pictures with them.
That is so funny.
Those were like kind of pranked them because they really thought they were looking for us.
perfect.
love a prank.
That's perfect.
Gotta prank your guests.
Okay, so really quick going back to the domestic violence, because you have this beautiful quote that if you're listening to this podcast and you've experienced this, I think that you'll just connect in a way that maybe you haven't connected to this issue. Domestic violence victims must be beloved if they're going to stand a chance at justice. Those who have suffered the crime must be sweet enough and flawless enough for people to be willing to stand up and say something. That, I was like, I gave you a standing O in my fucking bedroom for that. And this concept of like, wondering what you might have been versus wondering what you could have been. 2 different tones, right? And we slip into like could have been involves like shame and stuff. But like when you were contemplating like, if this experience didn't happen to me, would I be the sweet girl or would I be a huge cunt? Like,
Yeah.
and you kind of have to like grieve the you that you would have been.
100%. And I do kind of constantly like, I remember writing that after I'd come home from a bachelorette party. And it was this party where they were all singing these like early 2000s songs, like just like singing and having like so much fun. And I'm over here just like on my 9th martini. And I'm like, when they learn those words, when they learn the words on those songs. And then I was like, everyone knows the words to songs. Why don't you know the words to songs? I was like, oh, you were getting shot at.
Yeah.
So you didn't really listen to music the same. And then I'm over here being like, oh, I'm depressed. And they're over there having the fucking night of their life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wouldn't I be, I'd be, and people are like, no, don't say that, you're great. I would have been a lot better if it hadn't happened to me. I would have been
had
at the
fun.
bachelorette party hosting the fucking thing.
Yeah.
I would think dick straws are hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, I would be a funnier comedian. I would be more fun on vacations. Like now when I go on vacation, I know I need to work half of it or I won't be able to actually practice relaxation.
Right.
Like a fucking Katherine Heigl rom-com.
Yeah.
Where she can't stop working.
Sorry, I'm at my typewriter.
Sorry, I'm typing. I can't fall in love with Seth Rogen.
Have you made any progress with that, with the workaholicness?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Sorry, I said that, and then I heard my therapist laughing in my head. I was just like, because you're lying.
Yeah, I honestly, COVID cured me of that.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
Because I was like, well, it doesn't matter if I get ahead right now because we're all like, it was, to me, there was a lot of relief in that we're all in this together. But like, I know they were using the catchphrase, we're all in this together to make people like feel supported and safe. And for me, I'm like, I don't care about feeling supported and safe. I just need to know that no one else is going to get ahead of me while I'm drinking wine and reviewing Taylor Swift albums on Zoom and eating like funnel cakes in my living room.
Oh, that's awesome. No,
and it was like a gift to myself. And I was able to actually relax for the first time in 10 years, maybe. And I really and I kept that with me. I was like, this is how
life is supposed to be.
You feel so much better like this. Yeah. And I mean, I didn't know, but like it was leading up to my dad getting very sick. And I feel like it was kind of the universe, like, not that COVID was for me actually. But it was like the universe kind of like in my situation, like gifting me the strength to get through what I was about to get through. Cause things were going to actually get so much worse after. But for those, 5, 6, 7 months, like I absorbed all the energy that I had left in 10 years. And I just started saying no to a lot more after COVID, and still to this day, like I just don't fill up my calendar to be doing stuff.
And you're doing phenomenally, which I think is to the fear of, oh no, if I don't do all this,
right,
I won't be
it's
doing
gonna
as
fall
well.
apart.
And to know that you can say no and relax.
I could be doing better, but like the things I was saying yes to, the podcast, like filler nonsense, like it was not necessary. I love saying no now, like to work stuff even, because it's just.
That seems right, because it seems like I'm your tether. I'm like the worst version. Like you're like, I love saying no, and I'm like, it's hard for me.
Yeah, it is hard to say no, because you could go, oh, well, maybe that thing that I'm saying no to is the thing. It's going to be like the thing. But you just have to decide it's not, and you have to just like, for me, I had to decide like, this is what I want to do, and like what is going to be the thing for me is going to be purposeful. It's not going to be something I show up to because I said yes to it.
Yeah, it's not going to be an accident.
Inspiring. That is so inspiring.
It was hard though, so I always I like to hear how people get out of this workaholic zone, because like I really have a hard time sometimes like going to like dinner with a friend and listening to a conversation. It's not because I don't care. I just think this isn't really getting me ahead.
Yeah. No, I COVID made it worse for me. To be honest. Yeah. Because anything that has like terror or anxiety to it, I just start over preparing.
Okay.
For I don't know, for some part of my brain is like, this will help stack up cans of beans. And it really soothes me to work. So like I'm at my calmest coming out of like I am made to like get over 1,000 stupid production mistakes in a day, because it's soothing, where it's like, if I'm not doing that, then I have to do a lot of other harder mental health work to be able to be in a bar hanging out. Like my nightmare is parties. I love an event. So like the wedding, I love an event, but a party where you just go and stand, no, kill me. No. I need to
what do you do
something.
with your hands? What do you do?
And we're just talking about what? For how long?
Right.
Like I want to be like locked into something. I still don't feel like I can fully be alone with my brain yet.
Interesting.
Do you feel like you can?
I can now, but I do stuff like running. I've discovered running. Never thought I would do. I usually just rollerblade and like smoke weed and rollerblade, and that was but running is good because it's hard for
smoke weed and rollerblade is so Malibu.
Yeah, that's true. It is, but I do it all the time. I fucking love it. But I don't like. I've tried to meditate so many times, and it's really tricky because then I just start working. Or I start doing something, or
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, I don't know your mental stuff, but I know meditation doesn't work for people who have CPTSD. So
yeah, I've tried it so many times, and it just doesn't.
What length of meditation did you start at?
5 minutes.
Oh, really? I was like, I can do 10 like it's a second. I do a lot of meditation though to like get other people's energy off me, not to what kind of a meditation are you like?
So I'll call my energy back, and anybody's energy that's not mine goes down to the center of the earth through the core. I'll neutralize all of that stuff. I've gotten a mantra for I was going to say tantric meditation. That's not it.
Oh, your secret mantra.
Transcendental meditation. Right. Yeah, I have this theory that everybody actually has the same secret mantra, and we're not saying anything, and everyone's too chicken shit to share theirs. But I haven't shared mine. But yeah, I admire your ability to do stuff with the trauma brain, and you actually do it well. It sucks to be a perfectionist and be bad at stuff.
Yeah, well, I didn't say I was a perfectionist. I just said I did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Who knows how good it is? But also with that meditation thing, like I know with trauma, your brain needs to be online to feel better, not go offline, which is what meditation can send you into. And then you hit another loop, and then now you're off and doing something because you want this prefrontal cortex that has been fucked with to hook back in. Yeah. Versus like chill out.
Yeah. And when I started working with a trauma therapist, she was very calm. She talked like this. That's and I was like, what the fuck is this? What is this? Like, I hated it.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But she was trying to get me to understand, like, your nervous system is shot. You need to do things calmly. And I'm like, and it would make me freak out even more, but she was right.
Oh, good for, I would quit that.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I would be like, I get it, but you're not for me.
Yeah. And then when I tell her things, she would go,
no,
And I'm like,
she should be
fucking
fired.
shut up.
I hope she's listening.
The empathy noises are tough, even
got
in
so
non-trauma
mad.
therapy. I find them difficult when my therapist is like, or like she'll reach out to give a
was
hug.
terrible.
A hug.
Yeah, and I go, bitch, I never even met you in real life.
Yeah.
This has been Zoom the whole time.
Yeah.
I do truly love her. Like I have a joke about how I feel like we would be friends if I wasn't paying her, but like I actually do feel like that way, you know?
Yeah.
But still, like it's hard. Also, because like I don't know. I guess she thinks I need to be talked to in that way, but I'm like, I actually promise you I don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, it's just always fun to remember that like experts are just people.
They're just
and
people.
Some of them
Totally.
losers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You never know.
Some of them need to to be the ones in therapy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
exactly.
good. That's terrible.
Well, I also think that a lot of therapists are therapists because therapy worked really well on them. So it's like, why did they need so much therapy in the first place?
Yeah, because they're fuck them up.
You know?
Yeah. But so you and your husband both have like things that have fucked you up.
Yeah,
That's nice.
Yeah,
Because when only one person's fucked up, you're like, oh, come on.
yeah, and I was in one of those relationships.
Oh, where
Not
the other
fun.
person wasn't fucked up?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Fuck you.
And I thought that's what I needed. I was like, I'm taking up a lot of space over here. So we're
Right.
gonna need someone who's doing okay over here.
That's
but in reality, we were just like so not a match. And I used to think I couldn't be with a comedian. I was like, you know, improv boys just ruined me. And I'm like, they've got to get out of, no comedy boys. Like, no.
Yeah.
This podcast is here because of an improv
Yeah,
boy.
of an improv boy. Yeah, when you said it was like a dick buffet, because it was
Yeah.
for like 8 guys to every one girl, I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, yep.
Have you
Correct.
guys already named him on this podcast?
We named him his first name.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Frank.
Frank.
Okay,
I'll tell you
know,
who
I
it
was
is.
sitting here being like, am I going to know this improv guy?
You might.
UCB.
I'll tell you off camera.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's been very nice. I don't like to. I
Yeah.
usually don't even bring him up by first name anymore. But I honestly don't have anything bad to say about him.
Oh, that's lovely. Okay, so I'm talking about people who are not like Frank then, and I dated them, and thought I could never be with a comedian, and like
Because all
now I'm
comedians
married
are like
to one.
shitty. Yeah.
Yeah, or just that like maybe they would, one shitty or like not emotionally healthy in any way, and also that like me and all my stuff, doing all my stuff, like there wouldn't be like room for both of us.
Right.
But he is I don't want to sound like a loser, and this is so corny, but like I'm just like, wow, I cannot believe what a match we are.
You guys are a great match. You have
It
great
is-
chemistry.
it
You have a
astounds
great
me all the
vibe
time.
when you're together.
You're not
Like, it's
corny
like-
or annoying though. Like most couples do annoy me, and you guys
Yeah.
don't
Oh,
annoy.
good.
at
And when I
all.
saw how your wedding was, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, you guys fucking rule. You both
That makes me happy.
rule.
Thank
you just seem fun and in love, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but okay, that's nice.
Yeah,
you
there's
never
nothing
want to
wrong
be
with
the
that.
annoying couple, but yeah, he's like his fire matches my fire.
Yeah, it's perfect. That's
Which is like-
gorgeous.
yeah, and I used to date like I don't know that shoe on the ground.
Yeah.
I'd be like that shoe was a man. I'd be like I'll be with him
Because you feel emotionally alone in the relationship, and you're like, this is what I deserve. This is what's comfortable.
Yes, yeah, and like I am a freak, and you are normal,
Yeah.
and you're calm and cool, but also like just wildly. I'm not being rude because they were dating down with me as well. I was also dating down with them. Like we shouldn't
Yeah.
have been together. I don't know what they
Right.
were thinking, but I was sort of thinking like, you'll never hurt me. You seem really nice. You seem to have no thoughts or opinions or feelings. You seem to don't mind that I'm on fire.
Yeah.
Let's date.
You're like, oh, she's on one today. Like,
Yeah.
it's cute.
It's cute.
Yeah. Yeah. The UCB boys.
Oh boy.
It's just,
Yeah.
Wait, are you into astrology or no?
Yes and no. I was raised really new age. I
Oh,
went
you
to
were?
more like astrologists and psychics than like dentists.
yeah.
That's fascinating to be raised and not find it later when you're going
No,
through
raised-
something.
Well,
And your
extremely
godmother
new age.
had psychic ability. When you talk the story about her finding you in the desert and she was
Yeah.
going her intuition, I'm like, oh, okay. Because sometimes being traumatized can give you these abilities. I was actually going to ask you if you had any.
Absolutely. Well, it's really
Are you a psychic?
Yeah, I'm here to be a psychic.
Please help me later.
I would not be a comedian if I was a fucking psychic. I'll tell you that much. No, I was raised New Age. It's in me the way I think Christianity is in people raised Christian, where it's like it's just kind
Interesting.
of always in your bones. But like growing up, I can see in hindsight some of it was like. I mean, I cannot believe I'm not a member of a cult, to be honest.
Wow.
Oh, it's like manipulative, just like any religion. And that's like the thing. Sometimes people go to New Age because they feel like it's such a departure
Safer.
from classic religion. I'm like, it's the same thing. They're just using the same technique over and over again, guys.
And I think scammers particularly gravitate to New Age because
Yeah.
there's not even a book we all
Vulnerability.
agree on, the Bible.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't exist.
Right.
Like, rules, it's
Right.
no man's land.
And
Whatever
no
you say
legal
goes.
protections in the same way.
No legal protections
Yeah.
at all. And And so, I really have to keep some of that stuff away from me because I know I'll fall in. I've also witnessed straight up miracles in my life. I've witnessed things where I'm like, I'll never not believe because I saw this. However, I also went and saw an iridologist to determine my health. Well, that is an eye doctor who is what? Not a real doctor. But I went. And then,
do they look
years
at the
later,
specks
was
in your eye, like the freckles, and determine what your health problems are?
Yes,
Are you serious?
Yes, that's right. Yes, that is right. And
fucking what?
Then later, you're like, "What school do you go to be an iridologist?" And it's like, no, it's like a life coach certificate.
Shut up.
I have some medical stuff coming up in the book, and I would be like, I went and I had a 7.5 pound tumor on my right ovary. The size of a child. What doctor did I see first?
Stop.
I hope not an iridologist. Chelsea.
Chiropractor.
That's some shit I would do.
Chiropractor.
What could they do?
Crack it open for
I was
you.
just like, chiropractors are doctors, right?
Oh,
Dude, they're not.
They're not. So yes, with astrology, like I'm here for it, and also I'm like on guard. I'm on guard.
Okay, that's fair.
Are you an astrology bitch?
No, astrology, I'm very like on the fence about. I'm so interested in it, and I have recently developed a theory that it must be true because of how much men shit on it. But I don't know how I feel. I just kind of like track it, and then I see if things come true. I'm like interested in it. The only thing I'm really fucking into is tarot. I'm in.
Yeah.
Tarot, I'm
Tarot
in.
has a little more control over.
Because you're based on your own tuition, and
right.
I trust my own intuition more than anything.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
with the psychic
Crystal's
thing,
out. Crystal's out.
with
Crystals are a no
with the
for me.
psychic thing, it's like if a person recommends somebody, then you know, all right, that's probably something.
Oh, yeah.
There's probably something to that. Like the one you said you saw at Starbucks that told you exactly
He laid
what
out
was going to
5
happen
years
with your
of my
career.
life that happened. He more than my career. He laid out 5 years of everything. All of it came true. I've never spoken to a psychic since.
Wow.
Wait, where was this
I
guy?
want to call this guy.
I know.
Do you have his number still?
So actually, I gave him the name Frank in the book, oddly enough.
Oh.
No.
That means we're
Wait a
supposed
minute.
to
I
contact
know. I was
him.
like, it's a sign.
Wait, book
Frank,
secret.
one of the most common names.
I just let a book secret out. I named him Fred in the book. His name was Frank. But can you imagine speaking to a psychic named Frank? I was like, come on now.
That's so
What
funny.
is this? And
I
And-
actually
yeah.
would believe that more though, because you like if you were gonna make
Like,
up
he
a fake
really was meant
psychic
for
name,
this.
Yeah.
you would go with something like Esmeralda.
Cleopatra.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
No.
so
Yeah.
all right, where
Well,
where
we
was
would
he
love
located?
his info.
It was a phone psychic.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, so Dude, I read a psychic's book while we were interning, and I don't know if you remember, but I was like, I had made an appointment after I read her book, and she goes, "You're gonna be well known for your voice," and I was like, "What does that mean? Am I gonna be a singer?" Wasn't in comedy at all, and she was like, "No, your talking voice." I'm like, "The fuck, like an actress?" She's like, "No, like your voice." I'm like, "Whoa!" I'm like, "That was real." When that shit happens, I'm like, this is cool.
Yeah, no, when it happens, it's so real. It's just that I think 90% of it is a classism issue
bullshit.
where you're like, I don't have money for health insurance. Doctor's forms are hard and annoying. It's $50 to see this psychic.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's do that.
Well, and it's weird. You basically got a heads up that you and your best friend she was going to stab you in the back.
Yeah.
And then you joked about it with her.
Oh, I called her. I was like, this psychic just said you're going to stab me in the back. We're really bad for each other. We're really toxic. And in 10 years, we're only going to like say hello in passing. And we're not supposed to be business partners. And she was like, that's idiotic. I can't believe you paid money for this.
Yeah.
And then every time I got drunk, I'd be like, that psychic's not going to be right? And she's like, no.
And she fucking was.
And then it fucking happened.
But was it also like this? But you can apply that also to like romantic relationships, where we were just talking about this earlier. Where if you as the partner keep bringing up the girl you're afraid he'll cheat on you with, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it could have been that.
Yeah,
But she
definitely could have been that.
But the way your relationship started, where you idolized her, I feel like she got off on that. Her reactions to you when you first were friends of like, can you come to my part? Maybe we'll see if I'm doing anything. Like I'm like, I've fucking been there.
Yeah,
I've been you in that situation.
Oh, yeah, it's so interesting. Yeah, that's a very good point. And I don't know if it was self-fulfilling. He did predict other stuff that I did not tell people about that then also happened. So he was like, you're getting the job
really
this week.
good.
I wanted to know if I was getting main stage at Second City.
Yeah.
That was all I cared about. And I knew it was between me and another girl because they were doing this really weird thing where you do these improv sets for an hour long at the end of each show. And they were doing them, and they'd brought in the directors and the producers to watch us improvise every night to choose between me and her.
Oh,
pretty cool for your self-esteem.
Yeah,
and
I know. I was like, that sounds stressful as fuck.
And I was like, am I gonna get this? I just want to know about this job. And he's like, yeah, you're gonna get it. And he's like, you're gonna get it. You're not gonna like it. It's not what you think it is. And I was like, that's fucking insane because all I want is this. And
Yeah.
who is this future me that doesn't like it? Fuck her.
Yeah. She sucks.
She sucks. And I was like, I'm getting it. He was like, yeah, we need to move on. Your best friend is going to stab you in the back and your boyfriend's a joke.
Right.
And I was like, huh?
But I'm gonna get the role
because I feel like that's like a lot of the times like we especially with the woo-woo stuff, it's like the things that we feel like in this realm are so important are actually not the things that are important at all, and we always like we kind of like miscalculate.
Totally.
Fucking hate that.
Totally. Yeah. No. And I would have put everything on her and I never breaking up. I would have bet my life. That's the truth.
Wow.
And if that was the case,
Do you
then I would
speak
have
at all?
lost it. Yes. So spoiler alert, spoiler alert, everyone's like, for a book, fuck off. So I wrote the whole essay about us, and she had like sent me the first text in our history, like of not speaking by the time I was in the middle of it, I think.
You summoned her.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And so when I finished it, I felt like the ethical thing to do was to give it to her. Because it's one of those things where like, I love her. She is so talented. You would love her too. She's incredible. Like it's a breakup that hurts because they're so good, not because they're so bad. And I couldn't forgive what she did, of course. But like I love her.
But legally, you had changed who she was enough that you didn't have to send it to her. Because like when we wrote our book, I had to send it to the people I wrote about. They made us.
Did you name them?
No, I called people by other names in some of it, but like they basically their argument was they were like it's too easy for people to figure out who this is with a little bit of Googling, so you have to legally show it to this person.
Oh, fascinating.
And just like because you guys were in the entertainment business, it feels like another instance where we would be able to a little research figure
and
out.
Instead they were like, shut up
talk about
your
being
domestic
abused.
violence.
Yeah, that's fucking so
they were also like, what proof do you have that your mom was abused? And I was like, are you serious? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, but here's the thing. By the fucking grace of God, everything is documented in courts, in journals, with witness, everything's documented. They really were focused, I think, on the wrong thing because no one asked me to send it to Rebecca.
Yeah, I had to literally email my ex-boyfriend and be like, hey, this is what I wrote. Is this all right? Also, hi.
Oh, wow. No, I have some ex-boyfriends who will find out by reading this book how I felt.
Oh, wow. That's way better. I like that route. Instead of having to like email Stoya and be like, I talked about I was insecure when I found your butthole during Sandy. Is that okay? Okay. What the fuck?
Oh, my God.
No, I just felt it was like the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And then I sent it to her and I said, I would be open to hearing if you think this didn't happen the way it happened.
Okay.
That's a nice thing. That's kind and respectful.
Yeah. And then between then we met for the first time.
Oh shit, were you so nervous?
Yes.
Oh God.
She apologized.
Oh,
she
that's
was
nice.
like, it's the worst thing that ever happened. Losing you was the worst thing. She was like, how could you leave me? I was like, you threw me off a cliff. I didn't leave you. You threw me off a cliff.
Yeah.
And then I broke up with you as I fell.
Yeah.
But she was like, I can't believe you like truly disappeared from my life. And then I gave her the essay. I said, meet me at a Stevie Nicks concert because I'm unhinged.
Hell yeah.
That's amazing.
And I was like, if she reads it and doesn't show up, I'm at a Stevie Nicks concert.
Oh my God, how romantic.
This is romantic. I love this. Tingles.
If she shows up and she's like, this story sucks, you need to change all this, I'd be like, wait, Stevie Nicks is playing everywhere. We gotta listen. And then I didn't think of the third option, which is that it would go wonderfully and we'd miss a Stevie Nicks concert because we were talking through a lot of it.
Is that what happened?
That's what happened.
Oh, that's nice.
And she only had one note for me. She said, don't call yourself dowdy. You were never dowdy.
Oh.
And she was like, say what you gotta say. And I think that's what I had needed to forgive her. I needed a gesture. I needed for her to be like, I am so sorry. Losing you was the worst thing that ever happened to me, and I'll do anything to make up to you. And she did say all that and was like, now you're going to print this fucking book. And that was 2 years ago because my book got pushed off for the legal reasons. And I texted her the other day. We've seen each other like once a month. We're trying to go like really slowly.
Yeah, so it's not, you protect yourself from being codependent again.
Yeah,
because I'm like, oh
yeah,
God.
it's hard. And I feel
it is hard, yeah.
Codependence is so nice.
It feels like heaven
I
sometimes.
feel the pull when I'm with her. Where
There's just something about her that's magnetic, yeah.
Yeah, and like, so because I wrote this, I actually had her come. She already recorded an episode of my podcast with me. That's coming out next week. But so I just listened back to the edit, and And we still say the same thing at the exact same
Oh, that's really cute.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, it's been a decade.
Yeah.
And you hear us both do the same thing. And it was like, yeah, it just kind of felt like a soulmate, losing a soulmate.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a friend, that friend with a magic
The
tattoo.
tattoo,
Like, if she came back and was like, I'm so sorry, Krystyna. I'm like, I love you. Come on. I'm like, oh no, just stop. Slow down,
But then you're
Krystyna.
also like, so what? Stop it. Like knowing that you'd be like, I love you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, come
let's
back
do it.
into my arms.
Then what is taking them so goddamn long?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was my follow-up question.
Shame.
So if your friend felt like that, why did it take you reaching out to her for her to apologize and say, I've missed you and this was the worst thing that ever happened to me? Like for me, I'm thinking the worst thing that ever happened to me, I've not that I have succeeded in things that I have reached out to say, but I've certainly tried to.
Yeah.
And like, this is like a comment that I have mostly for men, not women, but like when, there's so many men in my life who, if they had just apologized, I would have forgiven them, and they just couldn't even do that.
Shame, it's got to be shame, I think. Like they feel shamed about how they treated you. Because when you were going over this, I'm like,
it's intense shame. But you think it's assholery.
Right. And when you're not talking, you fill in the blanks of what the other person's thinking, and you're not correct.
And I knew she didn't want to face what she'd done. She had done the wrong thing. It was clear. She had done the wrong thing, but to face that big of a mistake,
totally,
I think was hard. Also, I did the shorthand of it, but she did reach out to me first. So she sends me this text. She doesn't know I've written this essay.
Right.
I'm
She was
sorry.
in the middle of you writing
You
it.
summoned her. That's right. I'm sorry.
If you're open to it, like, let's meet. Meanwhile, I'm like, oh my God, I'm turning in this manuscript in 3 months.
Fuck, that's...
We
she
meet.
definitely
She
felt
apologizes, and then
she did feel the energy though.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I still argue that you did start it. But
Yeah.
Okay, New Age, listen, crystals are in me.
But yeah, because I'm like, it would still have been, such a long period of time for that to go by with no communication.
Right.
I mean, I think, we talked about it. It might even be on the podcast where I was like, I was waiting for a grand gesture. And she said, I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fuck.
People aren't ready.
Makes me want to
ready.
unblock my ex-best friend.
Well, no,
Just
you
to
got
see
to
if
wait
she'd
for
text me.
She can find you.
That's true. She can email me, I guess.
No,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. I don't believe in forgiveness. Hold grudges forever. If you're listening, hold it with me. I have 1,000 grudges. They're all on my back. You can have some. If you have one, I'll hate them too. Happy to.
Yeah.
I love a grudge.
But if you earn it, then I'm like,
all right.
Yeah.
We're good.
then you're back.
Yeah.
Man.
We have to go, but we're going to talk about pop culture.
Yeah, I was like, real quick. So you have a podcast where you read celebrity memoirs and then you talk about them. And I love this. I have a lot of theories that pop culture really affects us. Even if you turn your nose up at it at a level that I don't think many people really fully digest.
Yeah.
Especially like what we see as normal in romantic relationship structures. So I guess my question to you is, like, out of all the memoirs that you've read on your show, is there one that really stuck out to you, or like changed the way you thought specifically about like womanhood or romantic relationships? And can you share some of the wisdom?
Well, first off, I fully agree with you. And I feel like you can deconstruct culture and you could do 10 years of therapy with one good celebrity memoir. I mean that.
Oh, cool.
Now,
Or an album in some ways. I mean,
Yeah.
I reference Jagged Little Pill 3 times a week because of the profound effect it had on me as a young woman.
Absolutely. Because it's like our modern fairy tales or celeb culture, and that stuff forms you. And then if you can unravel some of that in an album or a book, like it's really helpful. Yeah. So, okay. So let's see. I've been doing this podcast since 2020.
Wow.
I've been doing Glamorous Trash. So there's been over 100 books we've covered.
Shit.
If I can think of ones that really helped me, Rue McClanahan. Do you remember her from The Golden Girls?
Yes.
So her book has the
slutty
greatest
one.
title of all time. Yeah, it's My First 5 Husbands and the Ones Who Got Away.
That's great.
It's so good.
She's her character. That's great.
She was sort of like a bit of a people pleaser of like, yeah, he seems to really like me. Let's do this. And so she goes through all that of like being like, do not do that. Do not do that. Jane Fonda's, which I read when I was like in 2005 when it came out. Someone was like, you come from just trash towns. How did you know what like intersectional feminism was? And I'm like, because I read Jane Fonda's book in 2005.
See, exactly. It's like we can learn about ourselves through these other lives.
100%.
What to do, what not to do, how to react, how to not react.
Meanwhile, Jane Fonda loves to date shitty men. She loves to have an eating disorder. That's what I was up to when I was reading it.
Right.
So it feels like very accessible.
Soul sister.
You know what I mean? Where you're like, I'm learning about like gossip, relationships, but also like we're going deep, we're going dark. And Gabrielle Union's first memoir is a lot about shame. Like the whole dedication starts with like knowing what it's like to be severely humiliated, which is is my like big wound. And it's funny, it's accessible, but also she was raped when she was 19, when she was working at Payless. And she talks about that. And she talks about getting famous right after it.
Oh, no.
And then having relationship issues in the public. And so, she talks about being really mean to other women, how she was just mean in Hollywood when she had to stop trying to do that. And yeah, I love it. Yeah. So we get really like, it's like very fun pop culture, but we go the like deep end of it. We try and like be like really like thoughtful.
Yeah.
No, you
but I think that makes
sense.
Yeah.
And especially because just like we were talking about before the mics went on, but just like, J-Lo had to cancel her tour. I mean, because of lack of ticket sales, what's going on with Ben Affleck, we don't know. But like, I just was watching, there's a lot of it like celebrating over the demise of these characters that we create. We saw it, we've seen it with J-Lo now. We saw it with Britney. We are also seeing it with JoJo Siwa. And that really bothers me because she just turned 21. She was a child star. Like, give her some grace. I mean, did we learn nothing from Justin Bieber? Like, I get heated about it.
Yeah.
Because this is a way where you can kind of like, celebrity, we use it as a chance to like make ourselves feel better by trashing someone who is higher than us. But what I think we're missing an opportunity as a culture to use it as training ourselves to be empathetic.
Yeah.
And to see a really this magnified version of all the things that will happen during our lifetime where we can learn to be like, oh, maybe I was an asshole when I was 21 too. Maybe I would have been an asshole if everyone saw me, go from dance moms to, making a pop song that maybe wasn't as sexy as we hoped it was. Still a fucking
also,
banger.
Like
I
navigate her sexuality and coming out. And then she's out here being like, oh, I want to make a gay pop album. And everyone's like, yo, that exists, and they're mad at her. What about the child star who has such a narrow view on the world, who had such little access to things that she had to navigate coming out as gay, not knowing there was other music to get her through it?
Right.
Yeah. I am so with you. And also, I bet you guys feel this way. I'm really curious. I am 1/1,000,000th of a person in entertainment that J-Lo is. But on the tiny level I'm here, I go, oh, of course you go crazy. And I might tomorrow.
Yeah. Fame is a mental illness.
Yeah. And I mean, any brief brush with it, even just an
I see
influencer,
motherfuckers
like
they get treated. No one says no to you.
No one says no to you, but also you.
And then you're people's property because when you do something they don't like, they lash out on you, but then they claim to love you. You're in an abusive relationship with your fans.
Yeah, and just hearing that feedback against yourself over and over and over again, but then feeding it and then wanting it, like so. It's like, of course, she made the literal worst Minute Maid lemonade we've ever seen. Got that from Twitter. That's not mine. Just so you guys know. But it's like it's very bad. Like she didn't even make the Greek chorus, who were her astrology gods, the same actors as her group of 28-year-old friends, which she was playing 28 even though she is 50. Which again, I'm all for.
Yeah.
Don't cast everyone around you 28.
Yeah.
Right.
Do yourself a favor.
Yeah. Come on.
Help yourself.
So yes, I get it. Can I tell you my theory on them?
Sure.
It's not the theory I think is correct. It's the one I want.
Okay. Let's do it.
She did think she was going to Taylor Swift, Beyonce, give us the greatest art, start this tour, ticket sales are bad. She's like, okay, that's embarrassing. My career's my first true love. Let's pretend me and Ben are divorcing.
Oh.
Move it over to that.
I respect that.
I'll cancel the tour under this, like, are we divorcing or not? Now I get to save my career, which is my true love.
I get to practice this
and
best tour
I'm
show.
Still with Ben.
Right.
That's what I want. That's what I want.
That's what you want. Because I'm like, it's just hard when we can see the maps of the arenas.
I didn't think of that part.
Yeah, because that's like that's kind of my favorite thing.
Oh shit!
Because who else?
I feel
Black
less bad.
Keys are also going through that right now.
Are you serious?
They had to cancel.
Fuck.
But when you think about it, it's like, okay, so I
Who's
know
your demographic?
But also, what like when I think of these people, it's like, yeah, they have an amazing catalog, but like I can't. What's the last hit from either of them? Like you're
right.
You kind of have to have that last hit.
Well, that's why the yes people around you, like there was I don't know, was it a documentary on Selena Gomez where she was like dancing on? You saw her tour show and you're like, you're dancing.
Like don't dance.
I love Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
I think she was so good. Spring Breakers. I'm like, I want to marry you. But she
hot,
so hot, and such a great actress. But in her she wasn't really dancing. And she came backstage. She goes, I just feel like this isn't entertaining. And her gut was telling her what the situation was. And all these yes people around her, you're perfect. Look at that. I'm like, don't fucking lie to that girl.
That's why you got to watch the video yourself. Yeah. You can see if you're bad at dancing or not.
Yes. And then, I'm like, people are protecting her from seeing the reality when it's such a fucking disservice. You know Harmony Corinne pushed her on Spring Breakers to be amazing, and she was amazing. And it's like, yes, people are dangerous.
You got to keep a family member who doesn't really like you around.
Yeah.
And I do think J-Lo's cut her sisters out, and she and Leah Remini weren't talking.
Yeah. Yes. And I saw her and Leah Remini just had met up for the first time in like a decade.
But again, so this is where my theory came from, which is that how do we know they just met up for the first time in a decade? That feels like a plan. That feels like a PR plan.
Well, everything does feel like a PR, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like,
I'm at this restaurant and so are the paparazzi.
Right.
Like your agent called.
Right.
Yeah, and so I'm like, listen, they really did stop being friends. Leah wasn't at the wedding, but I'm like, yeah, I didn't see pap shots of them hanging out.
Right.
But you know, her manager, J-Lo's manager, is Benny Medina. Do you guys?
Yes. Okay.
Name.
So he's been with her from the start. That's another person that's like, his finger's not on the pulse. He is who Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is based on. So his life story is what got that show sold.
Oh.
So he was like
fact.
kicked out from like running in Will Smith's gangs in Philadelphia, moves to Bel-Air.
Whoa.
And now he's like J-Lo's manager.
Wow.
Okay.
So much to think about.
I'm going to need him to get on TikTok.
Yeah.
Learn some things.
Yeah. Get some dance moves.
And reroute this career.
Yeah. It can happen.
Shit.
But, okay, if you were to read a Spice Girls book on my podcast, which one of all of them would you read?
I got to do Victoria Beckham's first one, I think, probably.
It's a big one.
Yeah, it is. I know. I mean, and
It's a fatty.
And I'm a huge fan, and I have read none of them because life's too short. I can't. I like you said, they're bad. Honestly,
they're bad.
I knew they were going to be bad, and it was going to hurt me personally.
Yeah. That's a good call.
The best one is Mel B's because she got out of that.
You could get her on yourself directly.
So when I first started, we got celebs like to be like, oh, I'm going to be on it, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And then I realized that's not what I like about it.
Oh, yeah.
I like talking with someone I love who's very fun, smart, and cool. Talking about this book, talking about our lives. I'm not actually here to be like, I don't know, like I'm not actually here for the celeb of it all. The celeb of it all. I really like the stories. In the books.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've read like every magazine article. I have every copy of Vogue from every country that Victoria has been on the cover of. I have thousands and thousands of dollars of Spice Girls merchandise like stored away and but it's just like the books. I was just like, you know what? I have like her children's photography books. Like I follow them on Instagram. We saw Brooklyn Beckham. Outside our old studio. Krystyna goes, isn't that Brooklyn Beckham?
Oh, really?
So hot.
Yeah.
Because I've also seen him, and that was not my take.
Oh my god! I'm like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I know Mel B's book has. She's 3 paragraphs in the book. She's been through some crazy shit. We have this thing on my podcast called Husbangers, where a talentless man finds a talented woman and then decides he's her manager and leads her dry. And they happen so often that they're on our memoir dringo of like, well, here's another one. He's one of the worst ones, but she has 3 paragraphs in her book, copy pasted 3 times.
Oh.
So the same 3 paragraphs occur.
So 3 no editor?
Yes, editor and a ghostwriter. It's like,
but the editor missed it.
Editor missed it and
That's
the co-author
bad.
missed it. That is very bad. Yeah.
Oh
but
my God.
She got a journalist to be her co-author, a journalist she loved, like who did a great piece on her. And the piece is great. But it's just so different than writing a book, man.
Right.
And you can't copy paste the paragraphs.
You want to engulf their senses and stuff like that. You know, you want.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that's the best one if you're going to do one.
Okay. I'm open to any. Who have I met? I've met Mel B. I've met Emma. Been very close to Mel C. Have not gotten close to Victoria or Jerry.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Victoria is so special to me that
it's got to be Victoria.
I have to meet her under. Well, if we're talking about meeting her, I have to meet her under professional circumstances. I can't meet her as a fan. My goal in you know how many people are trying to impress their parents. My goal is that I'm trying to be good enough in this career that I will organically be asked to work in some capacity with Victoria Beckham. That's my goal.
I think you're already there. I just don't think she's ever going to step into a space
podcast.
Unless you're going to start designing like Chanel.
I know,
right?
She's so funny though. Like
she's funny.
She's funny. She's the funniest. I think.
I bet if you you need to write a multicam live for Victoria Beckham.
Okay,
you need to make sure. I bet now in this moment she'd be like, yeah, okay.
That would actually be a great idea.
Why not?
That would be a great
Dave's
idea.
not doing shit.
I think you should do it. He had his documentary. I'm going to be in a multicam.
Yeah.
They were so funny and cute. Their love story is so cute.
Yeah.
It's cute, but it's also like, it's so much turning the blind. Like I'm.
Oh yeah.
To the Real Madrid.
And I do respect it. I'm not turning a blind eye. I'm getting in my car and I'm running someone over.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But she was like, yeah, I'll just pretend he didn't.
Well, I mean, I think the way they addressed it in his documentary was kind of like, without admitting it happened, they admitted
Wait, what were we talking about?
happened.
Yes, they did admit
He
it
fucked
happened.
up on the team.
Well, but they
No, they cheated on her.
Yeah,
Multiple times.
When
right,
he gets
right,
transferred
Yeah.
to Spain,
Yeah. They pussied out.
He was like, he had to be alone for 2 to 3 weeks, and he got
poor
lonely.
thing.
So
Yeah.
he had to
But
fuck
also
someone
call
else.
a hand, you shit.
Yeah, that's
Jerk off.
That's right. Why don't you guys have a lotion sponsor? It's called a
think-
hand, you shit.
You shit.
Think of someone else and
Aquifer.
jerk off.
Yep.
But it also made me go, wow, somebody that in love with a woman can still cheat. That's not personal, man.
Yeah, you just can't leave
it's
him
a mental
alone.
disorder.
Yeah.
You really can't leave him alone.
Yeah.
It's like a
when
puppy.
Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce, I was like, Beyonce's my Victoria Beckham. And I'm like, it's not, cheating's not personal.
It's not personal.
No.
No, it absolutely
Shania
is
Twain
not.
got cheated on. That was crazy. With
Oh, that one was rough.
Her nasty ass husband was
That
cheating
one
on.
was
Like,
rough.
you had the hottest, coolest chick in the game.
Damn.
And you still had
You
to.
fucking idiot.
Damn.
Cheating's not personal.
Yeah.
But I'll still run you over with my car.
Absolutely.
I'm like, I know it's not personal. Don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah.
Yeah.
Revenge though, right?
Revenge,
Yeah.
right? Revenge is personal.
Yeah.
Oh, Chelsea, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I super appreciate it. And I'm just so glad I got to actually talk to you about interning, which we've
Oh, I know. That's
Haven't
so
covered the ground on.
special. That's so special. Yeah, make sure everybody get her book. I shouldn't be telling you this, but I'm going to anyway. It is a warm blanket, and you'll learn about yourself, and it's one of my favorate books. I'm so excited to finish it. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And is there anything else you want to plug? You want to share with everyone?
Come listen to my podcast, Glamorous Trash. We recap and read celebrity memoirs. We just did Kathleen Hanna, Riot Girl.
Nice.
And then this summer, because we're going on book tour, we're going to release all the ones that were behind Patreon. So it's going to be like
Nice.
Paris Hilton and Elliot Page and some good ones. So yeah, come listen. And yeah, just buy that goddamn book.
Buy that
I guess
goddamn
if I ever want to write another one.
These books has to be good, but
These books gotta
everything
sell.
looks
This is
good.
the package
Yeah.
when I got it, I'm like,
You gotta keep
whoever
package.
your publisher is, this is how you do it.
That's all my knows. All my manager, Jordan.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is,
well, you
and
got
this
a
is
great
beautiful. Like,
manager.
this looks good. This pops off a
Your
shelf.
signature
I
lipstick
love
color
it.
was included in the book.
Yeah.
Like
I
love
was- this is what I love Beyonce because of her attention to detail. I'm such a fan of you in so many ways because of your attention to detail. I'm a fan of Corinne's because of her attention. Like
I love that.
I just love that. It's such a beautiful quality, and the detail that you give to this in this book is just it's magnificent.
Thank you.
Also, people should follow you on Instagram because you're an incredible dresser and
Great
just
follow.
really fun.
Yeah.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Yeah, sometimes I do unhinged Instagram stories where I talk
awesome.
about the books and come follow me there.
And you have a Taco Bell light.
And I have a Taco Bell like from our wedding.
Yeah.
That's now in my office.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Right now everyone is going, so it was the ugliest wedding ever?
No.
But come see for yourself on my Instagram at Chelsea Devantez. Only you can decide. No, thank you so much. I have listened to your show for so long. You guys are podcast icons and I'm just so happy to be here.
Thank you.
Chelsea.
We'll send you the
Yay,
Venmo
we're
for
all
saying that
doing
later.
great.
This has been Guys We Fucked, the Anti-Slut Shaming Podcast. We will talk to you next Friday.